All right, guys, going to begin in just 1 second. Got a big show lined up. It's going to be a lot of fun. An alternative to the sucky television that's on Sunday morning. Wee-hoo! So join me and share with others, won't you? And let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another edition of, well, this is the live edition of Rob Carson's What in the World. The recorded edition runs, of course, on Newsmax TV. It'll be on today, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 1 o'clock Central. It was on yesterday as well. Benny Johnson's show followed my show, and Benny Johnson is the latest addition to Newsmax. Diamond and Silk was added a couple weeks ago. So they are really upping their game as far as content is concerned. They're freaking awesome. They're really awesome. It's a great alternative to Fox News. I've been on a couple of other shows, Chris Salcedo's show, Grant Stinchfield's show, and they're just a lot of fun. They're awesome. Before I get started, check out the swag line up here. The swag line. You can put all of these things on your choice of T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, tanks. Phone cases, all sorts of stuff. Masks. You can put them on masks, oddly enough, yeah. Hashtag done with the NFL, because I am done with the NFL. Nah to wearing masks, among other things. There's just a bunch of them on there. Yeah, masks are stupid. You can actually get a mask that says masks are stupid. I know, right? Yeah. So when you have to wear it when you go into Walmart, then, there you go. So let's get started, shall we? I think I'm going to try and broadcast on my other Facebook page. The other day, it gave me fits. It said that I was using too much bandwidth. So let's see if it'll do it today. Well, it says no. Okay, never mind. I'll just do it right here. How's that sound? I think that sounds awesome. So let's get started. With there was a protest, not a protest. It was a peaceful protest. It was a Trump rally, and Donald Trump is going to kick Joe Biden's butt. You can tell because of just the reaction that people are giving him. But an anti-Trumper, a BLM supporter, a Biden supporter, ran over. Now you've seen these places around the country where people will run over somebody who is in the way of traffic. All right, so generally with Black Lives Matter. What happens is you go to one of their, you're driving down the road and Black Lives Matter is in the middle of the road, okay? In the middle of the road, and they're trying to block traffic. And when they do block traffic and they successfully stop you, they will wreck your car and take you out and beat you, possibly to death. This was not the case in this situation. This is in California, in Yorba Linda, California. A Trump-hating leftist ran over some people at, hello, Pat, and hello, Susan, ran over some people at a Trump rally, and they were not in the road. This driver has been charged with attempted murder and will probably spend the rest of her life in jail. I hope it was worth it. There's the road. Yeah, that person ran on the sidewalk to hit Trump supporters. They got her stopped. Good. Police were right there. I ran somebody over. Can you believe that? This woman just ruined her life. Who the hell runs over people just to run over people, then tries to get away with a police presence? Notice the people standing around the car are not attempting to break the windows out. Wow. Oh, you're going to try and lead the police on a high-speed chase now. Okay, sure.
I'm going on the sidewalk.
Sure. Wow, how incredibly stupid. There she is stopped. I haven't seen this whole video. That's why I'm playing it for you. Here we are. Notice they're not trying to wreck the car. They're not trying to destroy the car. They're not trying to pull her out and murder her, like Black Lives Matter is want to do. So basically 40-year-old Tatiana Turner, charged with assault with a deadly weapon and attempted murder. She's going to go to jail for the rest of her life. That is unbelievable. September 17th, the Orange County Sheriff's Department became aware of a protest planned at the Yorba Linda at 2 o'clock called the Caravan for Justice. Shortly after, counter-protest was planned at the same time. Deputies were present at the beginning of the protest to protect the constitutional rights, blah, 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 blah. Caravan for Justice is a Black Lives Matter affiliated organization, and they drove through California following the death of George Floyd in late May. After the protest began, reports of physical altercations occurring between the two protest groups, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, Tatiana Turner of Long Beach, 40 years old, has been arrested. She's going to go to jail. She's going to go to jail. Hello, Brian. How are you, my friend? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Let's get to the other news of the day, because I've got some really good political stories and non-political stories as well. Amy, what is her? I always forget. Amy Coney Barrett. She has been nominated for the Supreme Court of the United States to fill Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's funeral lasted a month and a half, I think it was, before they finally ended it. The left attempted to act like they were mourning by protesting in front of the Supreme Court and booing Donald Trump when he approached the casket to pay tribute, proving that they really didn't ever give a rat's behind about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It was all about her seat. That's what it's all about. And you know what? It sucks to be you Democrats, because Amy Coney Barrett's going to be the next Supreme Court Justice of the United States. Here is Donald Trump making an announcement on, I guess this was on, yesterday.
I stand before you today to fulfill one of my highest and most important duties under the United States Constitution, the nomination of a Supreme Court Justice.
And she is awesome.
This is my third such nomination.
Yay!
After Justice Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh, and it is a very proud moment indeed. Over the past week, our nation has mourned the loss of a true American legend. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a legal giant and a pioneer for women. Her extraordinary life and legacy will inspire Americans.
Okay, there you go. So, anyway, she's been nominated. She's an amazing woman. She's adopted. She has children, and she's got 7 kids. She adopted several of them. You may not know this, but I'm a huge fan and a huge supporter of adoption and fostering. I was adopted myself, and I found my biological family last 2 years ago, I guess. And my mom, who adopted me, is my mom. Okay. Ibram X. Kendi, director of the Boston University Center for Anti-Racist Research, is a racist. He wrote on Saturday that white people who adopt black children may be racist, joining a growing group of Democrats and leftists commenting on Judge Amy Coney Barrett's Haitian son and daughter. This is as low as it gets. Just when the Democrat Party sinks low, they go lower. They go lower. They're going after a woman who adopted 2 kids from hell, from Haiti, hell on earth. Kids, they saved their lives after the Haitian earthquake. Saved their lives. Kendi wrote on social media, some white colonizers adopted black children. They civilized these savage children, quote, in the superior ways of white people while using them as props in their lifelong pictures of denial, while cutting the biological parents of these children out of the picture of humanity. All right. The foster care system, if you look at it, it is populated to a large degree by black kids. It is. Why? Well, because there's a crisis in the black community, and it's been happening in the inner cities for 50 years. All right. There is a crisis in the black community that is not being addressed by Black Lives Matter, that is not being addressed by the Democrat Party. In fact, it's being cheered on by the Democrat Party. Look at Detroit. Look at Baltimore. Look at East St. Louis. Look at New York City. Look at every city in the country where a black neighborhood is. It's always crap. 60% abortion rate. Sometimes 80% of the households do not have dads in them. So cutting out the biological parents is a good idea in many of these cases because the parents are terrible parents. And I'm not just saying it's about black people. I'm talking about most of the kids in foster care are put in foster care because their parents are a-holes. Some kids lose their parents. Some kids don't have families. But by and large, they are saved by the foster care system, and they are adopted. It doesn't matter by white, black, purple, whatever color you are. And this ass, Abram Kendi, needs to be fired from his position as the director of the University Center for Anti-Racist Research. Wow, what an ass. What an incredible ass he is. He says, and whether this is Barrett or not, it is not the point. It is belief too many white people have. If they have or adopt a child of color, then they can't be racist. Kendi concluded, I'm challenging the idea of white parents of kids of color are inherently not racist, and the bots completely change what I'm saying to white parents of kids of color are inherently racist. These folks and fake bots are good at their propaganda. Let's not argue with them. This man is filled with hate. He is an awful human being. Senator Tom Cotton said that his post is cruel, racist attack against Judge Barrett and her family. I mean, why does this position exist? Why does this idiotic position exist at this university? On Monday, Kendi opined more on whether someone can be free from racism. We should eliminate the term "not racist" from the human. It's actually from the human vocabulary. He wrote, "We are either being racist or anti-racist." After receiving thousands of responses and backlash, he deleted the post. He's an a-hole. He's a douche. He is a POS. There you go. How about that? Hello, Linda. Or Lydia, I should say Lydia. And Shelby. Hi, Shelby. My niece watching in Iowa. Here is Chuck Schumer. He's just an evil human being. I think he's a warlock or something. But here he is responding to Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to Supreme Court Justice.
Judge Ginsburg had a dying wish that the next president choose.
Dying wishes do not public policy make. It doesn't matter if she had a dying wish. A lot of people have wished for world peace when they died, and see how that turned out.
Justice Ginsburg must be turning her over in her grave up at heaven.
In her grave up in heaven? I don't think that's where graves are.
That the person they chose seems to be intent on undoing.
He said she must be turning over in her grave up in heaven. Well, I mean, wow, I would love to have been at that service. I mean, how do you get the casket up there?
All the things that Ginsburg did. I will strongly, strongly, strongly oppose this nomination.
What an a-hole.
The American people should make no mistake about it. A vote for Judge Barrett is a vote to take away health care and its protections for over 130 million Americans who now have protections against pre-existing conditions.
Oh,
for
please.
over 40 million Americans who pay less for their drugs on Medicare. For close to 10 million Americans who will lose their health care altogether.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Vote for Amy Coney Barrett
Yes.
is a dagger aimed at the heart of the health care protections Americans so desperately need and want.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Donald Trump, in January, there's a new health care act that he signed that's going to drive down the price of prescription drugs. Big Pharma's pissed about it, by the way. And also, you're going to be able to, when you go to the hospital, they will have to tell you what everything's going to cost. All right? So wouldn't that be nice? Instead of going home and going, what the hell? I was there one day and they charged me $18,000. They will have to tell you up front. So a lot of things are going to change. And you know why? Because they're market-based reforms and they work the best. The government always F's things up. And I thought health care was supposed to be solved. I thought Obamacare was going to do it all. Going to do everything, get it all done, everything. Unbelievable. The president is, one of the things that makes him different is that he's been doing the things that he promised he was going to do. Now, I want you to think about that, guys, because When was the last time we elected a president who did what he promised to do? Think about that. I think Ronald Reagan probably the last. George Bush, a few things. He said we're going to go to war in Iran or Iraq, things like that. Bill Clinton didn't do anything he was going to do. He actually ended up having to do things he didn't want to do because he lost both houses of Congress for the first time in 40 years for the Democrats in 1994. Do you remember that? I do. Right? No, 92. It was 92. I remember that. So the president is doing a lot of things. He brought black unemployment, Hispanic unemployment to record lows before the Chinese virus, the Wuhan virus, that of course took over the country and took over the world. And somebody's calling me right now, and I'm going to say no to you. No, pod the phone. Turn you off. Sorry about that. Professional broadcast here. Yeah. And so now what he's doing is he's going to go after the inner cities. Now, the inner cities have been hell for a very long time. I've been preaching about this for decades. I've worked with inner city kids. I've worked with inner city communities, and it never gets better. It never gets better. When I was in Cincinnati, I did these kids safety programs, and when I would go out into the suburbs, we would announce that we're going to be there, and we'd bring all of our life coaches and our physical. We had karate instructors, things like that. It was a safe kids program, and in the suburbs, all colors, not just white, but all colors showed up. Parents brought their kids, and there were hundreds of people there. Then I'd go down to the YMCA in the inner city, and there were no parents involved. There were a bunch of kids, no parents at all. None. Nobody thought it was important enough to be there. I've seen it time and time again. I'm not going to be called a racist because I feel that way, because I've seen it time and time again. If anybody is going to solve, what's going on in the inner cities, I think Donald Trump will do it. He has introduced a new $500 billion capital expenditure to black communities. All right. Now, I'm not a big believer in government investments. Obviously we have to invest in infrastructure and all these things, but generally the money is wasted, is ruined. It never does anything. I have a feeling because this man, who is a venture capitalist, is in charge of this, that it will actually work for the very first time in our history. Here he is talking about the Platinum Program. I love this.
For decades, Democrat politicians like Joe Biden have taken black voters for granted. They made you big promises before every election, and then the moment they got to Washington, they abandoned you and they sold you out.
They leave money on the dresser
Democrat Party
the day after
used
the
you
election.
and they lied to you every single
They leave money on the dresser the day after the election.
time. You know it better than anybody else knows it. The Democrats will always take back the vote, what they want. I did more for the black community in 47 months. I saw they used that line, so I don't want to ruin it by saying it a second time. It was in the video, but I will say it again. Than Joe Biden did in 47 years.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And I'm here today to announce a brand new plan to deliver more opportunity, more security, more fairness, and more prosperity to black communities. We call it the Platinum Plan.
Come on.
Platinum Plan.
Come on.
And that's a contract with black Americans, and it's going to be something that people talk about for a long time to come.
Hell yes.
If you vote Republican over the next 4 years, we will create 3 million new jobs for the black community. Open 500,000 new black-owned businesses. Increase access to capital in black communities by $500 billion.
Come on.
Build up peaceful and safer urban neighborhoods with the highest standards of, and you know this, of policing. We want the highest standards.
You said the police. Holy hell.
We have to have highest standards of policing. bring even greater fairness to the justice system. We did criminal justice reform.
Yeah, you did.
Remember that?
Yeah, you did.
Even greater, we will create a national clemency project to right wrongful prosecutions and to pardon individuals
This man is the worst racist ever.
who have reformed their life. Joe Biden cares more about the citizens of foreign countries than he does about black Americans living in our own country.
That's true.
I will always put Americans first, and that includes, very, very importantly, black Americans. The Platinum Plan is a bold vision that we can and really will achieve over the next 4 years, and we'll be able to do it. If not,
I think it's going to be amazing. And I think for the first time that there will be accountability with regard to government spending. Government is going to create the jobs. The government is not going to, people are going to create the jobs. Investment is going to happen. And I think you truly will actually see something happen. In New York City, Bill de Blasio gave his wife, I don't know what it was, $100 million for some sort of a mental health program. Nobody knows where the money went. We see this time and time again. We had a $787 billion infrastructure program under Barack Obama's stimulus program. Nobody knows where the money went. Can you imagine that? Think about that. The amount of money that just disappeared, that just went up in flames, just disappeared. Pat says the truth to Democrats is like sunlight to vampires. Yeah. You're exactly right, brother. You're exactly right. Here's the president on Friday. He had another stellar speech. He's been delivering, I think, some of the best material I've ever seen. Inspirational and genuinely entertaining and funny. Watch this man and compare his ability to speak with every other president you've ever seen speak. He is a phenom. He is hilarious. He is connective. And he speaks to the crowd like no president has ever spoken in history.
but the Democrats champion Planned Parenthood, an organization founded on racism that continues to target the black community.
Yep.
In the Republican Party, we believe in protecting all black lives, including the unborn. We believe that every child of every race, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God. Republicans believe that all human life is sacred. At no time before has there been a clearer choice between two parties, two visions, two philosophies, two agendas for the future. Now, you know that. There's never been a difference like this. Our opponents want our children to grow up in a socialist nation that will mean less opportunity, less prosperity, less safety, and less hope for the future. The Democrat Party's message to your children is that their path is doomed and that their country is evil. My message to every child in America is the exact opposite. I want our children to know that they are part of the most exciting and incredible adventure in human history.
Amen.
No matter where your family comes from, no matter your background, in America, anyone can rise. Democrats divide our country by race. Republicans unite Americans through our shared bonds of citizenship. You see it here. This glorious country is the shared heritage of all Americans. In every generation, black patriots poured out their blood, sweat, heart, and soul to defend American liberty and to realize our founding promise that we are all made equal by the hand of Almighty God.
That's pretty powerful stuff. And it's also true. And I, like you, am sick and tired of bad-mouthing the United States of America, our history. I'm too proud of it. Too many people have died for our freedoms, black, white, Asian. Too many serve right now, regardless of skin color. And how dare you say that this is a racist country? How dare you? You're wrong. You're on the wrong side of history. You are. And you, like that a-hole at Boston University who was shredding Donald Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, you are the racist. People are tired of it. People are tired of it. Right now, America is suffering protest fatigue. Support for Black Lives Matter demonstrations falls to 39% from 54% 3 months ago. Okay? University of Michigan political scientist Christian Davenport put the change down to compassion fatigue as outrage over videos such as the George Floyd video, have faded, and people want to return to their normal lives. People also don't like to see people being attacked for dining out. People don't like to be called racist when they're not racist, and certainly people do not like cities burning. Black Lives Matter is responsible for billions of dollars of damage, hundreds of injuries, hundreds of police injuries, up to 30, 35 deaths around the country can be contributed to Black Lives Matter violent protests and Antifa protests, right? There's nothing good about Black Lives Matter. They are a Marxist organization. Where's the money going? Black Lives Matter Atlanta, their director was just busted for embezzling a couple $100,000. Took $110,000, bought himself a house, bought himself some nice tailored suits, bought himself all sorts of nice stuff for the inside of his house, $200,000. This guy was being paid a hell of a lot of money for being a Black Lives Matter administrator. And what the hell does Black Lives Matter do? What do they do? What are they doing to make Black lives better? What does Black Lives Matter do other than protest, burn shit, and hurt people? What does Black Lives Matter do? I want you to answer that question. Show me something somewhere that is the product of Black Lives Matter. Show me something they built. Show me a business they built. Show me a kid they got through college. Show me a kid whose life was saved by Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter does nothing but exist. It does nothing but exist, and it does nothing but blackmail companies to give them money. It threatens people. It ruins people's lives if they don't support Black Lives Matter. You don't believe me? Watch some of these people who are sitting at cafes in Washington, D.C. and New York when a Black Lives Matter mob comes up and says, we insist you raise your fist in support of us or we are going to assault you. Black Lives Matter is a piece of crap. And it's over. The shark has been jumped. It's over. It is going to be a steady decline into oblivion. The same goes for Antifa. Here's the president being asked about whether or not, and this is all speculative, and the reason why he's being asked if he will leave the office peacefully, if there will be a peaceful transition of power, is because the Democrats already know that Joe Biden has lost the election. They already know that it's over. They can tell by polling. They can tell by internal polling. They can tell by massive marches, Trump flotillas, giant Trump parades like there was in Kansas City versus the 4-car parade of Biden supporters the other day. And I think that was in Philadelphia. No, it wasn't Philadelphia. It was in Pennsylvania, Scranton. Joe Biden's wife was there. 4 cars. Kansas City, there was hundreds and hundreds of cars yesterday for a massive pro-Trump rally and drive to downtown. It was incredible. It was incredible. I don't have any footage of it. I wish I did. But it was glorious. It was really something else. The reason why he's being asked about a peaceful transition of power is because they know that Donald Trump will be in office after January 20th, and the Democrat Party will not accept it. What they will do is they will violently uprise. The left is planning on violently uprising after Joe Biden loses the election. They're going to delay the official announcement, the seal of approval with regard to the election until mail-in ballots come in, and they're going to protest it, and they are going to dispute it, even though Donald Trump will have won by a landslide, and they will blame it on Donald Trump. They will blame it on Donald Trump. They will blame the violence on Donald Trump, and they will attempt a coup. That's what's going to happen, guys. But here's the deal. We as patriotic Americans, we as Trump supporters are better armed intellectually and physically. And we won't put up with the nonsense. And this will be put out quite quickly. If you see Trump supporters, if you see patriotic Americans going up against Antifa, Antifa always gets a beatdown because they're weak. They're spineless. They're little snowflakes. Snowflakes in masks who like to hurl things until they're arrested. And when they're arrested, they get all sorts of polite. That's what I've heard. They scream, they yell F you, and they, like my friend Dan Bongino leaving the White House the last night of the Republican National Convention, they were screaming at him. They were saying they're going to rape his wife. When they're arrested, they're like, yes or no, sir. All sorts of polite. They're little snowflakes. They're little worthless snowflakes. They're fine when they're hurling bottles of urine. They're fine when they're hurling Molotov cocktails. When they are confronted with strength, they collapse. And that's what will happen. Here is the president being asked again for no reason other than to pigeonhole him and set up some sort of scenario with the election that he is not going to leave, even though Joe Biden is definitely going to win and Donald Trump's going to fight it.
The only way that's the only way we're gonna lose is if there's mischief, and it'll have to be on a big scale. So be careful. And we do want a very friendly transition, but we don't want to be cheated and be stupid and say, "Oh, let's transit. We'll go and we'll do a transition." And we know that there were thousands and thousands of ballots that made the difference through cheating. We're not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for it. So just remember, keep your eyes open. For decades, our opponents spent trillions of dollars rebuilding other countries. And now we're finally rebuilding our country.
Now, it's kind of funny. I saw, and thank you to the UK Daily Mail for that video clip. I use the UK Daily Mail a lot. It's a liberal rag, but I love it. I read it every day. It's fantastic. It's like opening up a Christmas present every day. It's just wonderful. What's his name? I'm trying to think of the ex-mayor of New York City. Anyway, come on, man. I had it right here. Hold on. Bill, this is a senior moment. Ex-New York mayor. I know I'm gonna get it. Michael Bloomberg. Jeez Louise. Michael Bloomberg has pledged $100 million to defeat Donald Trump. $100 million. He spent $100 million to run for president. How did that work out? He spent like $100 million and he never polled like above 1%. Michael Bloomberg is a joke. So he's going to try and spend $100 million to defeat Donald Trump. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Hi, Lydia. Hello. Oh, and by the way, and Lydia says, glory to God. No, actually, Lydia did not. Lydia said, no, not Giuliani. Kimberly said, glory to God. And thank you, by the way. I don't like to proselytize, but did you see the Franklin Graham prayer march yesterday? It was amazing. It was really, really amazing. It was beautiful. And we need that. The country needs that. We need that. And I'm just going to say, the last 7 years of my life have been a roller coaster. I was fired from a job in Washington, D.C., even though I was told I could take over Sean Hannity's place at WMAL in D.C. That was a lie. I was told a lie. And I was let go and I was out of work for nearly 2 years and finally got a job in Kansas City. I was moved to Kansas City, given a 3-year deal. Donna Baker and Cumulus Broadcasting decided to blow me out 2 years into a 3-year deal because I was making too much money. And I was unemployed for about a year. After that, built a studio, did this, wasn't making any money. My wife was going to leave me. My life was upside down. Gained a lot of weight. Wasn't doing terribly well mentally, physically, or spiritually. And I'm not there yet, but I have more than ever had reinforced in my life that you have to have the 3 pillars in your life: mental, physical, and spiritual. And when any of those pillars begin to weaken, they all fall. For the first time in my life, all of them fell. All of them fell. Yesterday, that Franklin Graham prayer march was peaceful and wonderful. The city was left as clean as it was when they got there, maybe even cleaner, and they didn't wreck anything and they didn't burn anything. And every color was represented, every race, creed, color, sex, whatever. And it was wonderful. So, working on my pillars. That's what I'm working on. Here is Kayleigh McEnany talking about, or being asked about, whether there'll be a peaceful transition. Again, this is nonsense. It is nonsense. It is speculation. It is nonsense. It is a question used to make a news story. It is not a news story that a reporter is questioning about. It is the reporter attempting to create news.
I wonder if you can just clean up or clarify something the president said yesterday. If he loses this election, can you assure us that there will be a peaceful transfer of power?
There hasn't been one since 2016.
You are referring to the question asked by the Playboy reporter, right?
I'm referring to the president being asked if there would be a peaceful transfer of power, and he did not say yes.
Yeah,
so
I believe.
I'm asking you, will there be a peaceful transfer of power? If
Nonsense.
I believe that question asked by the Playboy Power. In fact, I think I have it right here. He was asked when lose
Shut up and
or
let her
draw whether he would accept the transfer of power. I'm not entirely sure if he won why he would accept a transfer of power. That is maybe the deranged wish of that reporter, but that's not how governing works.
Very direct and very simple question. If the president loses this election, will this White House, will this president
This is not a news story. This is speculation.
assure us that there will be a peaceful transfer of power? It's a very simple question.
The president will accept the results of a free and fair election. But I think that your question is more fitting to be asked of Democrats who have already been on the record saying they won't accept the results of an election. In fact, I have several of them here for you. South Carolina Democrat Jim Clyburn has said that Trump is not going to win fairly. Senator Barbara Boxer has said that the only way Trump will win is to steal it. That's according to Democrat Senator Barbara Boxer. The Washington Post has noted, they have a headline, Democrats may not trust the results of the election if Trump wins. And then you have that beautiful quote from Hillary Clinton that Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstance. So I think your fitting is a fitting question for Democrats. Yes.
God, she's buttoned up. I love when she goes off like that, and she has all of her stuff in front of her. She's ready to rock and roll. She is ready to rock and roll. If you would please share this broadcast with others. Okay, today I'm going to post it on YouTube. Also, Rumble. Rumble is a new video service. Rumble.com, and it is not censored like Facebook and YouTube are. Yeah. I found out this week that Facebook was censoring me massively. I've been reaching like 70,000 people a week, and that number started dropping. I'm like, what's going on? And then people started writing me, Rob, I'm trying to see your memes and stuff, and it's being blocked. I'm not able to see it. I just had my friend Felix. He says, I can't find you on the web. He's trying to watch the show. I can't find me on the web. So hopefully Felix will join us in just a second. But I'm being blocked. I'm being held back. I should be able to reach hundreds of thousands of people, and instead I'm reaching hundreds. That's just Facebook. That's what they do. That's what they do to me. That's what they do to others. Lydia, I do have a Parler account, or Parlay. It's Parlay, but they call it Parler. I do have that, and I have a MAGAbook account, MAGAbook, M-A-G-A book. And literally within a week, I had 2,000 followers. Huge. Kamala Harris has said that she praises the Black Lives Matter movement. She says she praises the brilliance and impact of Black Lives Matter, which has caused $2 billion worth of damage around the country. I actually believe that Black Lives Matter has been the most significant agent for change within the criminal justice systems. Nah, Donald Trump has been. He passed legislation. He passed it so people who are being overpunished in prisons are able to get out. So you're wrong. Black Lives Matter has done nothing. Black Lives Matter has impacted the country in no positive way. Think of a positive way that Black Lives Matter has impacted the country. Please. Show me something they've built. Show me a life they've saved. Show me something they've done other than just exist and taken money. Show me what Black Lives Matter is doing other than doing protests, wrecking things, disturbing people. In a case in Minnesota, burning someone's house down because they had a Trump sign. Nothing that we have achieved that has been about progress, in particular around civil rights, has come without a fight. And so I always am going to interpret these protests as an essential component of evolution in our country. What a horribly worded statement. Listen to this gobbledygook. Nothing that we have achieved that has been about progress, in particular around civil rights, has come without a fight. And so I always am going to interpret these protests as an essential component. That is just so, there's so much fatty modifiers and crap in there. She's not a good writer or speaker. It's not. Oh, she says the protests are necessary and the people's voices must be heard. Yeah. It's often that people who must speak to get their government to do what it is supposed to do, but not do naturally unless the people speak loudly and obviously peacefully. You're so full of crap. So full of crap. Where is that Black Lives Matter? Yeah, here it is. Where is that? Where's that? Here's let me find it. Hold on, let me add this. Let me show you what the Black Lives Matter is all about. Let me grab this here. Yeah. Here it is. This is Black Lives Matter, kids. Watch.
This is a movement. I'm telling you, they're not going to stop, and they should not.
These people are tearing up our lives.
Third straight night, Portland police declared a riot.
The vast majority of the protest has been peaceful.
Nah.
Over the weekend, 59 officers injured and 47 people arrested.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announcing a proposal to cut $1 billion from the New York City Police Department.
Yeah, and Kamala Harris is right behind it. They are a necessary voice of change.
We need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
Be safe in Joe Biden's America.
Yep, pretty much. All righty. Oh, here's Joe Biden saying that we need to teach Islam in schools.
That's thank you for taking the time for watching today. Look, one of the things I think is important. I wish we taught more in our schools about the Islamic faith. I wish we.
That's pretty pandery. That's really pandery, particularly since Democrats are the ones who've chased Christianity out of the classroom, chased prayer out of the classroom, pretty much, and the Pledge of Allegiance too, I believe. Although I think in my daughter's school, when she finally does go back to school, they will do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I think that's important. They did it at her elementary school, even in Maryland. They did it. Oddly enough. Here is Joe Biden being coached by Stephanie Ruhle on, I believe it's MSNBC, CNN, whatever. Anyway, she couldn't get through the answer. He was having a senior moment. Every moment of his life is a senior moment, by the way. Here she is actually coaching him and reminding him of what he's supposed to say.
For example, the Paycheck Protection Act. 1% of the money's gone out. 1%. 1% of the that's not the paycheck. The bill for small businesses. Lending. Mainstream lending. 1%'s gone out.
There you go. I'll just help you out there, Grandpa. Just help you out a little bit there. Yeah. Let's move on to some other stuff. I've got some good stuff. I've got some non-political stuff coming up here. This is police officer was shot. By the way, Breonna Taylor was shot dead, but her boyfriend was a piece of crap. He had a gun. He was a felon. He wasn't supposed to have a gun. Her ex-boyfriend was a drug dealer. She was complicit with him in hiding money for him. She didn't necessarily deal the drugs, but she knew what he was up to. Jailhouse conversations have shown this. She ran with the wrong crowd, and it ultimately got her killed. Body cam footage shows Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly being carried away by officers after being shot in the leg. He was shot in the leg. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, shot through the door, then essentially used her as a human shield, and she ended up dying. Here's some footage of the officer after he got shot as the other officers attempt to save his life, and do save his life. Otherwise, he probably would have bled out.
Drive my car. Put him in the car. I'm going to grab his legs. Put him in the trunk. Put him in the trunk. Put him in the trunk. Put him on the trunk. Her just lifting. Grab under his arm. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
The Breonna Taylor protests are another lie, built on another lie. Hands up, don't shoot, a lie. Black Lives Matter, built on a lie.
Cover him. Let's go. Cover me. I'm with him. Stay down, John. Stay down. Mike, get out of the way. Stay down, John.
It's all a lie, man. Trayvon Martin was a lie. It was a lie. He went after George Zimmerman because he thought George Zimmerman was gay and attempting to pick him up. If you listen to the phone conversation, you know that. George Zimmerman was being attacked violently, having his head beaten into the ground, into the sidewalk, and he shot. He was a legal concealed carry owner, and he shot Trayvon Martin dead. It was a lie. the narrative has been a lie. This is pretty cool. This is a police officer, Nicholas Garrison, 34, was being jailed for meth possession on Tuesday. As he was being handcuffed, he made a run for it. The bailiff, a police officer, went after him, dived headfirst down a set of stairs trying to apprehend him, and ended up breaking 4 ribs. This is what our police do, man. I want you to look at this. This is like the NFL in a courthouse. Watch this. Okay, so he's getting ready to be handcuffed and taken off to jail. Breaking free. There he goes. Run. He's going to run. Check out this bailiff. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. We're going to go to the next camera, which is the stairwell, I believe. Okay. I guess this is another vantage point of the courtroom as he attempts to run. An otherwise calm day in the courtroom. There he goes. He's running. He's running. Like he's going to get out of the courthouse. It's so funny. He's going to get out. I'm going to get out of the courthouse. I'm going to escape and nobody will ever find me and blah, blah, blah. So, and then the woman on the left there is completely unfazed by it. Here he goes. He's going down the stairs. Now watch the cop. Watch that. Oh, man. Wow. Watch that again. That is something else. Watch this. This guy has, this is like, I'm going, son of a gun. What a guy. Anyway, the guy ended up getting 4 broken ribs. He's a hero. He attempted to catch the guy. I mean, that's just, ballsy. That's just ballsy. Ballsy. Now, we do have Jacob Blake was shot in Louisville. He was attempting to kidnap a child. We're discovering this now. CNN reports police officer Rustin Shesky told investigators it wasn't just his life he was defending when he fired his weapon at Jacob Blake last month in Kenosha. He said he used deadly force during the chaotic encounter because he was afraid Blake, while attempting to flee the scene, was trying to kidnap a child in the backseat of the vehicle. He's got my kids. He's got my keys. Shesky heard the woman cry. If Shesky had allowed Blake to drive away and something happened to the child, the question would have been, why didn't you do something, according to the lawyer for this police officer? So this Blake was attempting to get away with the kids in the car when the police approached him. At the time Shesky opened fire, Blake held a knife in his hand, twisted his body towards the officer. The action is not visible in the video, widely circulating on the internet, in which the view of Blake's body is partially obscured by the driver's door of the SUV. Matthews said a second officer at the scene, who he also represents, provided investigators with a similar account of Blake turning toward Shesky with a knife in his hand immediately prior to the shooting. That officer said he too would have opened fire, but did not have a clear angle. Authorities have said Blake had a knife in his possession. The weapon was found on the floorboard of the vehicle. Blake was aggressive in the aggressor in the encounter. And I want you to listen to this. Shooting occurred minutes after Shesky and fellow officers responded to a call of a family in trouble in a neighborhood near downtown Kenosha. Blake was not cooperative from the onset and quickly became combative when the officers attempted to physically take control. Blake actively resisted. An officer fired a taser at him but did not stop. Okay, so he was tased and he did not stop. All right? He did not stop. Huh, interesting. Just got a text from someone. All right, anyway. He fought them forcefully, was able to momentarily place an officer in a headlock. Okay, this is all incredibly aggressive and incredibly dangerous. Police then tased Blake a second time. He appeared unfazed. Okay, so he was high on something, maybe PCP. At that point, officers noticed that Blake was holding a knife, guns drawn. They demanded he drop the weapon. He did not. He walked around the front of the car and went to get into the car, grabbed something off the floorboards, and the police officer shot him 7 times. And he deserved it. And he's in the hospital, and he'll never walk again. And he's going to go to jail for his life. So bye-bye. Bye-bye. By the way, a woman who described Blake as his girlfriend said he took her car and a debit card without her permission and made $1,000 in fraudulent withdrawals, according to court records. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. Rayshawn White, who shot the video of the encounter, told CNN's Aaron Burnett he twice heard police tell Blake to drop the knife, that he did not see the knife in Blake's hand, while disputed other aspects of the police account. He said it was possible some things occurred before he began witnessing the incident unfold. So there you go. He's a piece of crap, and he deserved to get shot. In Louisville, of course, we have protests, city being burnt down. Here is the Attorney General of the state of Kentucky. He's a brilliant man, and here he is talking about how the situation surrounding the shooting of Breonna Taylor.
LMPD's Criminal Interdiction Division. Federal law enforcement partners are conducting that investigation. Sergeant Mattingly and Detectives Cosgrove and Hankinson had no known involvement in the preceding investigation or obtainment of the search warrant. They were called into duty as extra personnel to effectuate the service of the search warrant. They only had information conveyed to them during their prior briefing. Evidence shows that officers both knocked and announced their presence at the apartment. The officers' statements about their announcement are corroborated by an independent witness who was near in proximity to apartment 4. In other words, the warrant was not served as a no-knock warrant. When officers were unable to get anyone to answer or open the door to apartment 4, the decision was made to breach the door. After breaching the door, Sergeant Mattingly was the first and only officer to enter the residence. Sergeant Mattingly identified 2 individuals standing beside.
Okay, we have a freeze up of the video. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. I don't know what's going on. Here is Tamika Taylor responding to the Attorney General in the worst way possible, the most racist and awful way possible. Listen to this because it's going to make your blood boil.
As I laid there and I thought about him saying he's a black man, I thought about the ships that went into Fort Monroe and Jamestown with our people on them over 400 years ago.
Oh, dear God.
And how there were also black men on those ships that were responsible for bringing our people over.
Oh, please.
Daniel Cameron is no different than the sellout Negroes that sold our people into slavery.
Oh, shut your mouth. Dear God in heaven. That's right. That's what she said.
White men to capture our people, to abuse them and to traffic them while our women were raped, while our men were raped by savages. That is who you are, Daniel.
You are an awful, awful, awful person.
Aaron, you are a coward. You are a sellout, and you were used by the system to harm your own mama, your own black mama. We have no respect for you. No respect for your black skin. Because all of our skin folk ain't our kin folk.
Oh, there you go. They got to do the rhyme. You know, the skin folk ain't our kin folk. That's classic. That's classic race baiting. You know, they gotta have a fishing program on the weekends. It should be race baiting in America, everybody. We're gonna watch race baiting in America. Yeah, race baiting. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think I'm broadcasting on 2 Facebook pages now. Look at that. Well, look at that, will you? I am. Woohoo! I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm on 2 Facebook pages now. Look at that. Oh, okay, let's move on. Tamika Mallory is her name. She created the co-founder, Women's March co-founder. They're the ones who wore the pink P-word hats. I don't like that word. I've never liked that word. It's like the word panties. I don't like panties either. Don't. Pat says the best video I saw was Nadler doing the Nadler shuffle after Nadler pooping his pants. That was something else. I don't have that video right now, but yeah, that happened this week. That was pretty funny. Kristi Noem did something that made Rachel Maddow really mad because Rachel Maddow is an unhinged liar on television. She did this little PSA about social distancing in South Dakota.
Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota. This is how we do social distancing in our state.
She is so hot in so many ways.
That was great. Less COVID, more hunting. That's the plan for the future.
God, she's so badass. I want to watch that again. This is so cool.
I'm governor of South Dakota. This is how we do social
pheasant
distancing
hunting.
in our state.
That was great.
Less COVID, more hunting. That's the plan for the future.
Anyway, Rachel Maddow was really upset because he's probably a vegan. I don't know what the hell her problem is, but she's a vegan liberal, which, I mean, that's an awful combination. That's generally going to make you awful. Oh, good. All right. So Marion says, watching you now on Facebook, you're awesome. All right. Thank you. I tell it like it is. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So anyway, basically said, what did she say? She posted a tweet with a quote from an article outlining the spike in corona cases and hospitalizations that led to the state having the highest per capita rate of hospitalizations in the United States. Noam responded to the tweet from a progressive icon with her own missive. Stop spreading fear. Only 8% of South Dakota's hospital beds are occupied by COVID patients, and here she is appearing on Fox and Friends. Now, also there was a lie being spread about Sturgis, that 350,000 cases or 450,000 cases of coronavirus were caused by Sturgis. That was a gigantic freaking lie. Where are the body bags? Where are the mass graves? It's all a big freaking lie. Here's the report from Fox News.
The media going all in on a new study linking last month's motorcycle rally in Sturgis, South Dakota, to more than 250,000 COVID cases. That is something.
Well, the report calling the rally a super spreading event, but the state's governor says the research is, quote, fiction.
She joins us now. Let's welcome in Governor Kristi Noem. Governor, we saw the numbers. They said to use cell phone data to track, to find out who went and what they're experiencing. They say your cases jumped 35%.
I know I shouldn't say this, but she's hot.
What's the truth?
Well, that's actually not factual whatsoever. What they did is they took a snapshot in time, and they did a lot of speculation, did some back-of-the-napkin math, and made up some numbers and published them. This study wasn't even done by a healthcare study. It was done by the Institute of Labor Economics, and it's completely untrue. That's what's so frustrating, is I know the media does not like what South Dakota has done. They have deemed me as the governor that made all the wrong decisions by letting my people have freedom, by using personal responsibility. But listen, our people are happy. We've had big events. We have in South Dakota 124 cases that were tied to the Sturgis motorcycle bike rally.
Just real quick, I'm going to say this right now. I believe, barring Joe Biden's sudden demise if he gets elected, this will be the first female president of the United States.
Out of 500,000 people that came. So what they have done here is completely false, and it's unfair, and it's not doing the public service.
Have any other organizations looked at the Sturgis event to figure out whether or not it did spread the disease? Or are you just saying this is the only study out there right now, and they're using pseudoscience to make you look bad?
You know, other states are tracking cases. I think we have 11 other cases that have tracked, people that have traveled to the Sturgis motorcycle bike rally.
11.
But it's less than 300 cases. And I think that is really what's wrong with this study that we see that was released that the media jumped all over, is the kind of speculation that they put out there, the inaccuracies. Are just unfair and not truthful whatsoever. You know, this is what modeling has done throughout the pandemic. On a typical day in the pandemic, the models and the experts all told me I'd have 10,000 people in the hospital on any given day, and I've had less than 100. The vast majority of the days, I have less than 100 people in the hospital today. So we're taking the virus seriously, but we're also recognizing that there's consequences to what we've seen happen in other states.
Like in Michigan. And like in New York, where 6,000 people died in nursing homes because the idiot governor and the mayor of New York put COVID patients in nursing homes. Yeah. Here's some interesting stuff. I want you to know, you might want to mark this and share this with other people, okay? Because I'm going to share some stuff about COVID. Fewer than 1% of U.S. students and teachers have caught coronavirus since class started in-person learning. Early data from Brown University's tracking of hundreds of schools across the U.S. suggests infection rates are relatively low in classrooms, despite public health officials and parents' anxieties that in-person learning could trigger outbreaks. Here's what we're afraid of. Here's what's keeping my daughter from being able to go to school and be with her friends. Here's what's keeping kids off of football fields and off of cross-country fields and off of stages and out of speech and debate and out of everything. And this is why their lives are being ruined. This is why the kids in this country, their lives are being ruined. They've already lost a year of academia. They're sitting and doing not in-person learning from home. They're being ripped off. Senior years have been ruined. Kids have not been able to walk across the stage to get their diplomas. They've lost scholarships because they couldn't take the field because of this. Are you ready for this? 0.23% of students, including kids attending class in person as well as virtual, have caught coronavirus. 0.23%. H1N1 affected 65 million Americans, including me. And I got pneumonia because of it. Barack Obama did D word for Richard on that one. Nobody wore masks. Nobody wears masks for pneumonia. Nobody wears masks for TB. Those things still exist out there. They still exist out there. Why don't we wear masks every freaking day? Why are we wearing masks for this? It's a joke. It's a joke. This will get me booted off of Facebook. 0.51% of teachers have been affected. For saying that, this video will probably not be posted on YouTube. 0.51%, 0.5% of teachers have been affected. It comes after a study published in Science found that the theory that children could be important spreaders of coronavirus as they are of flu is likely wrong. Are you ready for this? I'm just quoting from the CDC. I'm not making this up. Don't ban me, Facebook. Don't take down my video, YouTube. This is the estimated infection fatality rate, the IFR, according to age group. Are you ready for this? When you look at the flu, you look at pneumonia, you look at all of the other things that somebody can get and die from. 0 to 19 years old. Your survival rate is 99.997%. That is 0.03% away from 100% survival. Okay? 20 to 49-year-olds, 99.98%. 99.98%. 50 to 69 years old, 99.5%. 99.5%. 70 years old or older, 94.6%. One of the biggest killers of elderly people is pneumonia. Pneumonia is a giant killer of elderly people. It's frequently the disease that ends their lives. It's the one thing that puts them over the edge. So that means for people 69 years and younger, the survival rate is between 99.5 and 99.997%. Those 70 years and older, 94.6. Wow. Wow. So the survival rate figures from the CDC's IFR estimates, 0 to 19, is your survival rate is 0.003%. 20 to 49, 0.02%, 50 to 69 years, 0.5%, 70 or older, 5.4%. Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Big bad wolf, not me. U.S. child deaths from corona remain low at 100 as study reveals kids are half as likely to be infected as adults. Any child's death is horrible. Kids die of flu too. They die of a lot of different things. They die of strep. I almost died of strep. American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association say that only about 100 U.S. teenagers and kids have died of COVID since the pandemic kicked off. That means if 2 children and 2 adults interacted with the same contagious person, the odds that both adults would contract the coronavirus, but one child would. 2 nursing home administrators in, Washington State, former Superintendent Bennett Walsh, 50, and ex-medical director Dr. David Clinton were indicted by a federal jury on Thursday. The 2 are charged over their handling of coronavirus outbreak at the Holyoke Soldiers Home in Massachusetts. Charges stem from their decision in March to combine 2 dementia units, packing sick and non-sick residents together. Since March 1st, 76 veterans who contracted COVID-19 at the home have died. And yet, the governor of New York is still free, unencumbered. despite the fact that 6,000 people have died at his hands because of his poor handling of COVID cases being put in with nursing home residents. Here's a Louisville Snower owner. A group of Black Lives Matter protesters filmed confronting this guy. His name is Fadi Fouri. And apparently they had firebombed one of his buildings, and he was standing there the third night of the Breonna Taylor demonstrations. This is what Black Lives Matter attempts to do, and this is him saying, nah, not going to do it.
Does Black Lives Matter? I'm sorry? Does Black Lives Matter? You're a good person, I don't care about you. Does Breonna Taylor matter? Does Breonna Taylor matter? Yes. Does it matter? Yes. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't know what? How do you know that it matters? What do you mean? What are you trying to say? I'm saying, are you trying to No, I'm not. I'm asking you. Listen, hold on. Listen. It's not a game, it's real life.
This is nonsense being spouted by children, by the way. Let's forward a little bit here.
How many people came around me? Hold on a second. How many people came around Breonna Taylor? She was sleeping and she was shot here.
Yeah, and Breonna Taylor, she bedded down with drug dealers, okay? She made very poor life choices, okay? She aided and abetted a felon. Okay, her ex-boyfriend in jail. She aided and abetted and hid money for him. He was a known drug dealer. She knew he was a drug dealer. Her boyfriend shot a police officer through the door the night that she was shot. If you get shot at through a door and you have a firearm, you're going to shoot back.
None of my fucking business.
It should be your business because all lives matter, right? You can agree with that, right? All lives matter.
I care about that, yes.
But can you agree?
Do I need to remind you that I am carrying an AR?
No.
I'm going to filibuster you. I'm going to talk over you until you agree with what I believe. This is why Black Lives Matter is declining into oblivion, because of this nonsense.
All lives matter. It's okay. You can say all lives matter. You can stand there. You've already been back. Blue lives matter. It's the color black that is the issue. The word black. And that's
Well,
okay.
if you have an issue with that, I don't have an issue.
So then why
Because
do
I
you
don't
not
see
say
color.
that? Okay.
I don't care about
Yeah, goodbye. Go back. Go do something else with your time, honestly. We're tired of your protests, okay? We get it. We weren't racist to begin with, okay? We weren't racist to begin with. America was not racist to begin with. This is all bullshit. It's all a lie. It's all made up, okay? It's all a lie. This is not 1969, although the Democrats want to make it 1969 all over again. It's not. We've evolved. None of us were racist, and we don't need a lesson on it. We don't need to be taught a lesson by millionaire athletes on fields telling us that we should support Marxist organizations and raise our fists in solidarity, and we should kneel during the national anthem. Nonsense. You are so over. I want to move on to this idiot in Chicago. 33-year-old activist Adam Hollingsworth, known as the Dreadhead Cowboy or the Census Cowboy. Lori Lightfoot decided to make him the Census Cowboy. Well, this idiot decided that he would do a protest by running his horse down the Dan Ryan Expressway for 7 miles. Here's the problem. The horse was not shoed properly, and ultimately the horse was left in critical condition due to his injuries and may have to be euthanized. This idiot who calls himself a cowboy has no idea how to treat an animal, how to shoe an animal, and ultimately this is the equivalent of forcing an 80-year-old to run a full marathon. Here this moron is running down the Dan Ryan Expressway. It looks like a cute stunt, but he is very cruel, and ultimately this animal is suffering greatly and most probably will have to be put down.
To the Dan Ryan with this guy on a horse.
A horse on the highway, and it all began with this man.
Shut this live. Y'all see this? This is gonna get shut down.
Adam Hollingsworth, who calls himself the Dreadhead Cowboy, going live on social media with a message.
Kids' lives matter. Until kids' lives matter, until we understand kids' lives matter, nothing else matter.
For more than 7 miles, and with a motorcycle escort of activists supporting him, the Dreadhead Cowboy shut down the Dan Ryan.
That animal is suffering greatly. This idiot a-hole takes a horse on hard pavement for 7 miles and ultimately the animal will have to be put down because he's a freaking moron.
Guy Map 7 along for the ride, clocking the horse at more than 15 miles per hour before Hollingsworth finally stopped. On the ground, moments after Hollingsworth was cuffed and arrested, the other activist ready to deliver a stern message.
We need the resources in our communities. Our children are dying. Our communities are dying.
Yeah, and unfortunately in inner cities, the murder rate, black-on-black violence, is 10 times the national average. Okay, that's not our fault.
When will she listen? When will the governor listen?
When it comes to everything, we get the bottom of the barrel of everything. It's not going to happen no more.
Pick yourself up and change your life.
It's time for things to change.
Stop blaming other people for your problems.
We keep saying it, but if we don't start moving and doing it, nothing's going to happen.
In these photos shared with Eyewitness News, the horse appears injured and bleeding. And tonight, Chopper 7 HD tracking it and spotting it, safe and now resting with handlers from Chicago's Office of Animal Care and Control.
Nobody is listening to us. Only time you want to listen is when we do stuff radical. They're hitting my page all day talking about animal cruelty. They're crying out. Who's crying out for the cruelty in our neighborhood?
Yeah, I've been crying out for it for 30 years because I've been talking about it for 30 years. But unfortunately, Democrats have never been willing to address the problem. They always blame somebody else. I'm not going to say it. Abortion rate is 60%. 80% of families do not have fathers in the inner city, and black homes do not have fathers in the house. School dropping out, drug dealing, gang violence, thug culture. Do I need to go on? None of that's being addressed by any of this. Instead, other people are being blamed. Honestly, there's a point where you just got to say, screw it. Here's something to make you laugh. This is a live report on CNN when people decided to disrupt them because, whenever Fox News is out at different protests, they get yelled at, they get screamed at by liberals. And this is the CNN get a little, what for?
Right, well, absolutely. I just wanted to say that while we were here, the crowd behind us, some supporters, started chanting 6-3. You can hear getting a little bit of
Made my day. Made my day. This is a really cool story. I'm going to move to some lighter stuff here. This will put a smile on your face. This is an 89-year-old man. He was not able to pay his bills. He lives in a trailer. His name is Derlin Newey. His wife's no longer living. He lives in Utah, and he's working at Papa John's delivering pizza to make ends meet. He works 30 hours a week as an 89-year-old man, and well, there's the Valdez family decided to do something about it. This is pretty cool. This is a great story. This is going to make your Sunday. It is. Watch.
So you and Randall are talking about writing a sequel to The Passion.
That is not. That's my next story. Here is the CNN. Here's the pizza story.
There are as many places to get pizza as there are toppings.
I love pineapple on my pizza.
So do I.
When it comes time to order that combination, Carlos Valdez chooses this Papa John's in Roy.
That's the only thing my wife loves, so.
It's not so much because they think it's the best tasting pizza, but more because of the delivery guy.
Hello, are you looking for some pizza?
The Valdezes have gotten to know Derlin Newey from his deliveries.
Sure do appreciate you. I've been by 1,000 times.
So much that they ask for him by name when ordering and record him for their TikTok videos, which have become pretty popular with their 53,000 followers because of how kind Newey always is.
It's insane.
But one thing that kept coming up is why an 89-year-old man was delivering pizzas.
Somebody at that age should not be working that much.
So the Valdezes got an idea. They figured, why not ask their followers to maybe donate some money to help Newey out? They thought maybe they'd get a few bucks here and there. Instead, they got a lot more.
Collectively as a community, we all came together and we were able to raise over $12,000 for this amazing person.
This morning, the Valdezes went to Newey's house for a delivery of their own.
Good morning, Derlin. How you doing?
Newey had no idea.
We collectively collected a gift for you, and I am here to deliver that to you on behalf of the TikTok community.
Newey didn't even know what TikTok was.
You communicate with each other.
Watch this.
Through the telephone.
This is beautiful.
But he knew what $12,000 was and couldn't believe it.
How do I ever say thank you? I don't know what to say.
Turns out he lives alone and started delivering pizzas because he couldn't afford his bills on Social Security alone.
And I work about 30 hours a week.
Now, with this money from strangers, maybe he won't have to work so hard.
I don't know what to say, but except thank you.
It's a delivery he never expected,
This couldn't have gone any better.
proving
There's hope.
being kind to each other is priceless. In Roy, Alex Cabrera.
That is just gets me. When you do what I do for a living, you get absorbed in it, and you take in so much information and so much negativity, and you know your guts get twisted up in a knot when you see things like Black Lives Matter protesting descending into violence and people saying stupid things about white people adopting black children, and I could go on, and then you see something like this, and you realize that we really are in here. There's good, there is. This is a couple more stories here. A red wine tsunami, 50,000 liters of wine spilled in Spain. Here it is. It reminds me of the scene in the elevator scene in what was it? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the movie, but you know what I'm talking about. The Shining. That's 50,000 liters of red wine. Get a glass. Get a couple glasses. Oh, that's just sad. 50,000 liters. That's like what? 12,000 gallons of wine. Wow. My wife's got. I wonder how many boxes that is. Let's see. Liter. I think there's like 5 liters in a box. It's like 6,000 boxes of wine. There you go. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, wine. Wow. That is just sad. Sad. Ohio couple arrested after getting into a huge fight at a golf center. This is at Top Golf. Man and a woman, Shaquan Foreman Antoine and Dakota Arnold, spelled Dakotha, have been charged with assault and resisting arrest. Apparently, their card was declined at Top Golf, so this is how they solved it. If I was an employee at Top Golf, I would have gotten a big old driver and hit him right upside the head with it. Moron. Bye-bye. Off to jail with you, you fool.
Pick your cheese up. Pick your cheese up.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, a-hole. He's an a-hole in one. Yes, an a-hole in one. All right, I'm going to wrap things up. Well, I do want to say, this is serious. Ron Paul apparently had a stroke on air, and I want to share the video because it's fascinating and terrifying at the same time. He's okay, but this is actually a stroke happening, and maybe this is educational for some people. My mother had a stroke, and the people in the emergency room didn't recognize the signs. And my mother's life has never been the same because the idiots at the hospital didn't realize my mother, who was probably 85 at the time, was showing the symptoms of a stroke and never got it. And my sister had to go and say, I think she's having a stroke, guys. Here's Ron Paul.
Free market economist is it has to be liquidated. We have to get rid of that. That's a burden. We can
Look at his face drooping, okay? Watch the left side of his face. All right.
That's a burden. We can
Look at the entire his left side, your right side of his face is descending.
That's a burden. We can
It's Dr. Paul.
Wow. Fortunately, he's okay. That's a stroke. Finally, this was fascinating. Hindenburg happened 80 years ago. It exploded in New Jersey, and they've colorized it. I think it's fascinating. 60 people died in it, and it's obviously one of the most legendary aviation disasters in history. Here's the colorized photo, a video they just put out. It's pretty fascinating stuff. Static electricity caused the Hindenburg to explode. It's full of explosive gas, hydrogen. And there's the explosion now in color. And that thing's like, what, 3 football fields long, is gigantic craft. Unbelievable. That's pretty fascinating stuff. I mean, it just took seconds. Unbelievable. Yeah, that was something else. And of course, it changed dirigibles and travel forever. And it's kind of a shame, because I would imagine that if you wanted to just travel like, a cruise ship, how fascinating and how wonderful would it be to every day wake up and walk out on the promenade and look down at the world around you. I mean, I think it would be amazing. I think dirigibles, I think it would be an amazing thing to make it viable again using helium that's not explosive and current technology. And there's been talk about it as like a cruise line. But of course, the Hindenburg terrified everybody of it. So that is going to do it for the show today. I want you to do me a favor. A friend of mine, Dan Bongino, he's a national pundit. He's a best-selling author. Years ago, when I was in Washington, D.C., I had him on the air when he was running for office. He ran for office 3 times unsuccessfully because he lived in the wrong states. But he went on to become an incredible speaker, an incredible pundit, an incredible author. And he found a tumor on his neck. And he shared on air the other day, and you could tell that he was very shaken up by the possibility of whatever the diagnosis might be, if that's cancer. Please pray for him. Please pray for him, okay? Dan Bongino, say a prayer for him, okay? And on the heels of the prayer rally in Washington, D.C., pray for our country and pray for peace. How about that? Cool. All right. I'm going to go order something. Right there, one of those designs right there, tpublic.com, conservative tees. I will put the link on my Facebook page. Lydia says my video is frozen up. No, it's not. I can see it. It's fine. Guys, have a glorious day. I'm off to work at Hendrick Toyota in Merriam, Kansas. If you want to buy a car, come and see me, please, because I'm having a really crappy month, and I need to pay the bills. And they've got some great deals on used cars and new ones. Really cool. I mean, like, wow, holy crap. And Toyotas last forever. That's another thing, okay? All right, I love you guys. God bless you. Share on social media. Check out my Parler page. Check out my MAGA book page, MAGA book. All right. And then also rumble.com, my video channel as well. Have a good one, guys. God bless. I'll see you soon. Bye.